Good morning, students of Olabisi Onabanjo University, the citadel of knowledge that is blazing the trail in Nigeria. Welcome once again to another session on GNS204, also known as Introduction to Entrepreneurship Skills. Units for the course is 2, and the assessment system is such that the practical scores is 60 marks, while the theoretical part of it that will be examined is 40 marks. The course outline is as follows. We are doing this review in the interest of those that are just joining the class. This is our third class. We have had classes 1 and 2, and a fewer number of our students were actually in attendance. It will not be surprising to tell you that out of about 7,000 students that are supposed to join online, we only had 1,300 or so at the last lecture. I also want to tell you and allay your fears with regards to the test that we did last week. It will be a continuous exercise, and only those who attend classes will be able to attempt and do this test as it may be. To this end, the course outline, general course outline, we are still on crop production enterprise. We'll go to shoe and sandal production enterprise. We'll equally take tie and dye production enterprise, all by me. And then I should round this off by the time I get to the 6th lecture. As from the 7th lecture, Mr. Abiola Ajasa will come and take pig production enterprise under livestock production. And also, Dr. Adeyanju will also take you on poultry, sheep and goats, as well as rabbit production enterprises. Thereafter, others too will come and take different aspects of this course. Please, during the first lecture, I explained that the management of this university has done us a lot of great deal by introducing entrepreneurship skills to our students while they are in school. And upon graduation, students then become job makers and not job takers, because right from school, there would have been make a job mentality imparted and inculcated in our students, as against the take a job mentality where students are searching for job that is non-existent. Paid jobs are becoming increasingly very difficult to get, and it is only students with entrepreneurial skills that can hold their own in the society. And to this end, I charge you all to please take it upon yourselves to take advantage of what Olabisi Obanjo is doing through Introduction to Entrepreneurship Skills. I should let you know that there is undoubtedly a growing need for entrepreneurship education as a basic skill in the Nigerian educational system. Integration of entrepreneurship studies into university education will prepare the youths to be responsible, enterprising individuals who will become entrepreneurs and contribute to economic development and sustainable economic development of this nation. Entrepreneurship, therefore, is a veritable tool for solving the ever-growing unemployment challenge in the Nigerian society. However, the main goal of entrepreneurship is to empower graduates, irrespective of their areas of specialization, with skills that will enable them to engage in income yielding ventures, whether they are gainfully employed or unable to secure paid jobs. It is therefore a reorientation from the take a job mentality to make a job mentality. It is an approach of becoming your own boss. Entrepreneurship is very crucial in the development of economics globally. It initiates and constitutes positive economic change in the structure of business and society. Entrepreneurship increases the growth and per capita output, income, and as well stimulates innovation in the society. Investment in enhanced investment is enhanced through entrepreneurship, thereby creating new capital for capacity building. Where entrepreneurship is promoted, unemployment is drastically reduced. Also, entrepreneurs must possess various skills and technical know-how to be able to succeed. Hence, the introduction of entrepreneurship skills in the university system. One of our focus is on the agricultural aspect, which will teach people how to be empowered through agricultural ventures and projects that can become turnkey projects for the society. Students, agriculture, however, is expected to play 5 main roles. Please note this. Agriculture is expected to play 5 main roles for the development and sustainable development of every agrarian economy. The first, and perhaps the most crucial, is the supply of food, which is expected to be available to people in adequate quantity and quality and at affordable prices. Other roles include supply of raw materials for domestic, agro-industrial manufacturing. 2, generation of income to farming household, generation of foreign exchange through exports, and provision of employment opportunities to others. These five rules are very crucial, as highlighted earlier. And that was why we spoke about that what are crops. And we said crops are plants which have been identified, domesticated, and cultivated by man for various uses, including food particularly. Including food particularly. And I remember that I said it here during the first two classes, that the huge importance of crop production cannot be overemphasized. And that is why we are still on crop production enterprise. It cannot be overemphasized, as basically man depends on agricultural produce for food. And apart from food, what other things can human beings consume as food? If you are eating bread, it is from agriculture through wheat. If you are eating rice, it's from agriculture. If you are eating wheat, it's from agriculture. If you are eating chocolate, it's from agriculture through cocoa. If you are taking tea, yes, tea, the tea leaves are from agriculture. So virtually all that we consume, there are no synthetics as food. There are no synthetics as food, except, God forbid, when somebody is sick and they give alternative to food. But I do not wish that to any one of us. Meat is from agriculture. Cheese is from agriculture, from milk. So you will then see that all of us depend on agriculture for sustenance and sustainability. We have said that in crop production, there are principles guiding it, and the principles of crop production, techniques, and cultural practices. That we said these principles of crop production are the practical cultivation procedures, techniques, and cultural practices that are involved in crop production ventures. Yes, when you say POCP, principles of crop production, these principles are the practical cultivation procedures, techniques, and cultural practices involved in crop production ventures. I remember that I said also that the techniques and cultural practices generally cut across arable crops, tree or fruit crops, as well as horticulture and ornamental crops production. These are specific techniques and cultural practices involved in the production of all these that I mentioned. The principles of crop production are all the activities carried out on the farm. Are we there? The principles of crop production are all the activities carried out on the farm before, during, and after planting of crops, seed, or seedlings. When it is pre-planting operation, pre-planting, these are activities that are carried out before planting could be done on a particular area of land or field, cultivable field. Now, I should tell you this. When we say cultivable field, we are talking of a parcel or portion of land that has been cleared, that has been cleaned, that has been specially prepared for crop planting or seed introduction. To that end, pre-planting operations will include the following. Number one, choice of site. Choice of site. You must be able to choose the site you want to plant on. Number two, the second thing to do under pre-planting operation, that is before you plant. The next one there after site choice of your site. The next one there is to check for the nature of the land in terms of its slope or gradient. If it is too slopy, it probably may not be good for agricultural production, especially crop production. After the nature of the land in terms of soil gradient or slope or elevation, the next one is the soil type. The soil type should be loamy soil, whether sandy loam or clay loam soil with enough organic material with enough decomposed organic materials on it, the one you call humus. Decomposed organic materials presence should be the first thing a potential farmer should notice on that kind of field. Beyond this, availability of input is also important. When we say availability of input, it's talking in terms of the machines and equipment that can be used for clearing. It's also talking in terms of the seed that will be planted, planting material. It's talking in terms of other inputs such as fertilizer, herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, and so on and so forth. You will then see that the last operation here under availability of inputs after choice of sites, the soil, the land, the nature of the land, the soil type, availability of input. The next operation there is land clearing. Land clearing. When you carry out your land clearing, you can carry out land clearing through machines, equipment, such as crawler tractors, crawler, CRAWLER, tractors, the one that is referred to as bulldozer. But the one that I don't call the bulldozer, that machine is used for bulldozing forest, to bulldoze thick forest. And the person that is driving it is the bulldozer. The man that is operating it is the bulldozer. While the machine that is being used is the tractor, but a crawler tractor, heavy-duty tractor, is a tractor, heavy-duty tractor. And the act it does is bulldozing, while the man that is using it is the bulldozer. So if you call it the bulldozer, I begin to wonder why we are calling machine the bulldozer when it is actually the man that is using it to bulldoze that is the bulldozer. Having said that, to change your mentality about how you refer to that machine as bulldozer, we then go ahead to note that after land clearing, the next one is tillage and tilling. What is tillage? Tillage involves opening up of the soil ahead of seed planting, opening up of the soil and turning it before seed planting. This can be done with simple farm tools like hoe or Indian hoe on a small scale, and mechanically by using tractor-driven disc plow, disc harrow, and the likes on commercial or large-scale farms. In mechanized tillage, the field is plowed to break up the soil, and it is thereafter harrowed to break up large clods of soil, resulting for plowing before ridging or beds can be made as may be necessary. After this, then we go to planting. Planting. These are activities carried out during planting operations. Don't forget that I said the principles of crop production are guided by activities that are carried out before, during, and after planting operations. So planting operations will then require the following. Planting material. What are the planting material you want to use? The seed should be viable seeds, very viable seeds. Seeds which viability is very high. That is seeds that when you plant them on the field, quite a higher number of them will germinate. Followed by seed rate. Seed rate. It is a measure of the quantity of seed that is required to plant a unit area of land. Seed rate. The quantity of seed that is required to plant a unit area of land, say 1 hectare. In the case of maize, it is usually between 15 to 20 kilogram soil maize on 1 hectare of land. That is the seed rate. Seed rate. Apart from seed rate, the next thing is spacing. Spacing. And spacing is the number, the specific area of land allotted to a crop from where it will exploit its nutrient, air, and moisture needs for optimum growth and yield. That is this. That is what we mean by spacing. The specific allotted area to a particular crop from where it will exploit its air, moisture, and nutrient requirement for optimum growth and yield. It should also be noted that for planting materials, there should be what is called viability test. That's another thing that is done during planting operation, viability test. And viability test is a test that is carried out to determine the germination ability of the seeds of a crop that will be planted on a field on commercial basis. And it is done to determine how viable the seeds can be. And this can be done through floating method. Yes. A sizable quantity, say 100 out of the seed, is counted out and dropped in a bowl of water. If only 70 sinks and 30% floats, it then means that 70 is viable, while the 30% that floats are not viable. Then we say the seed has 70% viability or 70% viability of growth, of germination rather. Then the next one is to carry out seed exposure method. Seed exposure. Plant the seed on a particular segment of the field, say 2 meters by 2 meters on the field. Allow it to be there for the number of days it is expected to germinate. Go back there, count the number of seeds that have germinated, then you know whether the seeds are good or the seeds are not good. I hope we are following. Having said this, another method, the third method, is to do laboratory method, whether indoor or outdoor method in the laboratory. In the laboratory, the seed tray is obtained and seeds are planted in it in the laboratory where temperature, moisture, and air are regulated. And once the seeds are planted, you return there on the day they are expected to germinate and count the number that germinated. And from there, you will then know how viable your seeds can be. Finally, on planting operation, We talk about planting pattern. This is the arrangement of your seed on the field. The arrangement of your seed on the field. Are you drilling? Do you want to plant by drilling? Do you want to plant by broadcasting? Do you want to plant? Because some people can plant in a hole. When you plant a stake, you plant in a hole, specific spacing adopted. Also, some people can also plant by drilling, although drilling is mostly done when the plants or when the crops to be planted have very tiny seeds, especially the seeds of vegetable crops, especially the seeds of vegetable crops. Are we there? They are drilled. They are drilled and not planted in holes or at stakes. Now, having said that, another important aspect of planting is spacing and plant population. Spacing. And I say spacing, this is the area of land specifically allotted to each crop from where it is expected to draw its nutrient, air, and moisture requirement for growth and yield. We then go to post-planting operation. These are activities that are carried out after planting has actually been done. After planting has actually been done. And I said these include, number one, there is supplying. After planting, don't forget that we said viability of your seed is important. If some of the seeds are not viable, they will not germinate. So when they don't germinate, the next thing to do is to carry out supplying. And this is the act of replanting or replacing ungerminated seeds on the field such that you can have optimum plant population. The act of replanting or replacing ungerminated seeds. The next one is thinning. Thinning is almost synonymous with supplying. While supplying is to replace ungerminated seed, thinning is to remove overpopulation or overpopulated seeds in a particular spot. For instance, if maize is expected to be planted at 2 seeds per hole, and then after germination, they are seen, or there are cases where you have 4, 5 seeds, and the specifics is that you plant at 2 seeds per hole, then it is expected that you thin out, you carry out what is called thinning. You thin out and let it be just 2 seeds in a particular spot. Other pre-planting activity include mulching. Mulching. What is mulching? This involves the use of plant and animal remains as well as organic substances to cover the surface of the soil to prevent moisture loss. Such that the plants can have enough moisture for growth and development. Mulching. It should be noted that when these mulch materials decay, they add nutrients back to the soil. Apart from mulching, another post-planting activity is weeding. What is weeding? Weeding is the act of removing weeds from your field, or in the other words, it is the act of removing unwanted plants from a field that has been deliberately planted with specific crop. For instance, we may see cocorus. Yeah, we may see cocorus, that is juice mallow. What is called, Cocorus, Jews Mallow, Jew, Jew apostrophe S, Mallow, Malloww, Malloww, Jews Mallow, the one you popularly call Ewedu. When you find it in a maize farm, it can be regarded as a weed. Are we there? Now, another post-planting operation is fertilizer application. Fertilizer application. What are fertilizers? Fertilizers are substances that contains one or more recognized plant nutrients that are needed for plant growth and development. Don't forget that there are organic and inorganic materials that are called fertilizers. When they are made of chemical substances, they are inorganic fertilizers. When they are of plant and animal remains, they are referred to as organic fertilizers, the one you call manure. Example of organic fertilizers can also be guano, excreta of cattle, poultry, sheep, and goats, as well as pigs. Those ones are called guano. So these fertilizers has methods of application, and the methods of application are through broadcasting. When you hold it in a bowl and you spread it, broadcasting is actually done. Fertilizer broadcast is actually done when you are planting crops that are close together. Example is rice. At 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters apart, application of fertilizer may become tedious. You then carry out broadcasting. Also for vegetables like amaranthus, the one you call green vegetable, like celosia, like spinach, and the likes. The best approach is you broadcast it on the field and plow your land, then you plant. Other methods are ring method, which, yes, you run a ring, you run a circle, ring, around the plant and put the fertilizer in there and cover it up. Another one is the side dressing. Side dressing. Side dressing is also called drilling. A hollow trench is dug along the line of the crop and fertilizer is placed in there and covered. The other one is pocket application. Pocket application, you dig a hole not more than 3 to 4 inches deep into the soil, drop the fertilizer and cover it up. The last one there being spray method. And this is usually done when you are applying liquid fertilizer. It is also called foliar spray. Foliar. Foliar spray. And I should also let you know that insecticides and insecticide application are also part of post-planting operation. My earlier lectures will guide you as appropriate on all of this. My earlier lectures will guide you as appropriate on all of this, and I do sincerely hope that our students would actually do a review of what has been taught ahead of now. To this end, I want us to quickly, I think I was able to touch some aspects last week that borders on horticulture, and we'll still come back and treat that extensively while we are taking vegetable production today. Just a minute, please. Just a minute, please. So we then start with this aspect that has to do with vegetable production, and that is also known as Fadama farming. Fadama farming. What is Fadama? Fadama is another word for dry season farming. It actually derives its name from Hausa word. Yes, it's Hausa word. That Fadama is Hausa word, and the meaning is dry season farming. So we go into it that Fadama is dry or partially dry season vegetable production or farming through the use of streams or rivers and or artificial source of water and or artificial source of artificial source of water artificial source of water. Thank you. Furthermore, cropping is temporary and seasonal. Yeah, when we say it's temporary and seasonal, don't forget that we said it is dry or partially dry season vegetable production. Yes, dry or partially dry season vegetable production in the sense that um, you plant when the rains are almost over, or when the rain are actually over. The rains are actually over. And I'll tell you that as a potential entrepreneur, it takes just 30 days for you to plant and harvest vegetable. In fact, between 28 and 30 days. In fact, in some cases, it can be as short as 21 days. You can then see that you can do, because the dry season is expected to last for about 4 months, you can then do about 4 or 5 cycles of vegetable production, which will keep you as an agripreneur, as somebody who is interested in agriculture, who is an entrepreneur in agriculture, which will keep you going when the season is off and you cannot plant some certain crops that require huge amount of water, because vegetables require water, but not as much as maize or rice or cassava will require. It then presupposes that as somebody that has interest, vested interest in agriculture, when the season is off, you cannot be idle. Then you then go into fadama or dry season vegetable production. And actually, I will tell you that that dry season vegetable production is a money spinning venture, because as at that time, the quantity of vegetables that you sell at a particular amount of money is drastically reduced. Is drastically reduced. You have just little quantity to sell at huge amount of money. You then count 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10, 10 sticks of amaranthus, the one you call spinach, green vegetable, at 200 naira. Whereas during the rainy season, you can pack as much as 100 for 200 naira. So you make more money, and it makes a lot of economic sense for you as a farmer to engage in dry season vegetable production. Let's go ahead. I said fadama cropping is temporary and seasonal. Fadama cropping is common in the savanna and Sahel zones, although it is also becoming more common in the coastal regions as off-season crops for most farmers who do not want to remain idle. And in some instances too, some farmers too produce it using greenhouses, shield houses, and make more money. Don't forget that the opportunity to make money is the reason for being an agriculturist in the first instance. And the senses should be so opened to the extent that you know that you have to make your money during the dry season. Are we there? The main crop enterprise consists of vegetable production, and these are directly sown vegetables such as tete, amaranthus, shoko, ẹ̀fọ́ ṣọkọ, celosia argentea, ewedu, Cocorus oliterus. Also, some are sown in the nursery and they are called nursery zone vegetables. When you sow them in the nursery, they are thereafter transplanted to the field. Examples here are igbagba, the one you call Solanum macrocarpum, ẹ̀fọ́ Igbo. Others are tomatoes. The other one that can be also planted in the nursery before they are transplanted is the pepper. Pepper too. For those who have opportunity to plant pepper during the dry season, they make a lot of money because it becomes very scarce, especially during December and January period. I am explaining this to you because this is a practical course and it should guide you when you go into vegetable production or pepper production, that you must make your money more when the season is off, that is, during the dry season. Are we there? Please note that production of short season grains, cereals and legumes, as well as sugarcane cultivation is less during the dry season or in Fadama period. However, crops are sown at the commencement of the dry season and harvested before the commencement of the succeeding rainy season. In Fadama, when you plant, all you plant you must harvest before the rains comes. Because when the rain comes, the rains will make a mess of some of these crops and the farmer may lose invested fund. To this end, the term Fadama is also known as fallow during the raining season until the commencement of the next dry season. When rain season comes, Fadama becomes fallow. Yes, Fadama becomes fallow. That is, it will rest. It will rest. Yeah, it will rest. Oh, now I should let you know that vegetable production, the Fadama field, is flooded during the rainy season, and the flood water deposited considerable amount of nutrients into the Fadama soils. The reason why we are using Fadama, are you with me now, is because during the rainy season, swampy area, the floodplain becomes swampy, and the rain will bring a lot of nutrients and it will deposit a lot of organic matter, and when the rain goes, the deposited organic matter and nutrients will then become useful to your crops, and that is why vegetables do very well and they have luxuriant flourishing growth during the dry season in Fadama Plains. So vegetable gardening can also be a rewarding hobby or a viable full-time occupation. It requires smaller land area than field or plantation crops, and much less capital investment. The investment in Fadama is less, very less. It's very, very minimal. Also, Fadama entrepreneurs will be adequately guided if they know precisely what they want to plant and how they want to plant it. And I'll explain this practically. That from two plots of land, two plots of land, that is say 120 feet by 240 feet. If we do 3 feet bed, if we do 3 feet bed by say 15 feet bed, 3 feet, that is 1 meter, by 15 feet, that's about 5 meters or 6 meters bed, you probably will have a minimum of say 200 beds. And if you have 200 beds and you plant at 6 inches drilled on that 1 meter bed, you are expected to have not less than 25 lines of such on each bed. If you have 25 lines on the bed and you have 200 beds, during the dry season, each line is expected to give you a minimum of 300 naira. A minimum of 300 naira per line by 25 lines gives you 7,500. 7,500 per bed is what you expect to make in 21 to 30 days. If it is 7,500 in 21 to 30 days and you have 200 beds, it then means that you have 1.5 million. And I tell you that your labor cost and the cost of planting material, insecticide, and the likes that you are using, production cost, total production cost, at about 50% of your income. 50% of 1.5 million is 750,000. It leaves you with 750,000 in 1 month. Now tell me, students, tell me as a potential agripreneur that you cannot make money from agriculture and you cannot become the millionaire that you are earning, that you are yearning to become. Because you are yearning. I know the reason for coming to university is you are yearning to become rich, not to be a poor person. Poverty is not your portion. Your reason for coming is to become rich. And you have planted vegetable, and your vegetable will be ready in 30 days. You have invested 750,000, you sold 1.5 million. What I've just explained to you is to let you know that you can make huge amount of money from agriculture. Students, I wish you well, and I hope that we have spoken about vegetable production. Our next class will basically be on shoe and sandal production, and I will be here by the special grace of God during the next class. That will be our 4th class, and we will have been in the 5th week of this semester, but our 4th class. I thank you for your attention, and please expect that our test will follow suit immediately after this class. I thank you for your attention. God bless you, and I wish you well. Have a blessed morning. Thank you. Thank you very much.